Okay, good evening, guys. Welcome to the ninth session of Finfo. So, if you have missed our first eight sessions, you can still watch it on YouTube. The name of our channel is Road Truck Lover Khani Green City. Today's session is on capital gains tax, and the session will be taken by our PR director, Road Tractor Rohit Gadge. So, I'll request Rohit to take over and continue with the session. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hello everyone, good evening. So today I will be covering the topic of capital gains tax for shares and mutual funds. So yeah, so first we will start with knowing what is capital gain. So any profit or gain that arises from the sale of a capital asset is a capital gain. This gain or profit comes under the category income and hence you will need to pay tax for that amount in the year in which transfer of capital asset takes place. This is called capital gain tax, which can be short term or long term. Capital gains are not applicable to an inherited property as there is no sale. Only a transfer of ownership will be done. The Tax Act has specifically exempted assets received as gifts by way of an inheritance or will. However, if the person who inherited the assets decides to sell it, capital gain tax will be applicable. So basically, capital gain is any profit that you can gain by selling a capital asset. And what can be a capital asset? Capital asset can be anything like property, jewelry, uh, or any object, basically. So first we will learn about types of capital asset. So the first type is short-term capital asset and second type is long-term capital asset. So we'll start with short-term capital asset. An asset held for a period of 36 months or less is a short-term capital asset. So basically any asset held for less than 3 years is a short-term capital asset. The criteria of 36 months have been reduced to 24 months for immovable properties such as land, building and house property from financial year 2017-2018. For instance, if you sell house property for holding it for a period of 24 months, any income arising will be treated as long-term capital gain provided that property is sold after 31st March 2017. Next is long-term capital asset. An asset which is held for more than 36 months is called long-term capital asset. The reduced period of the aforementioned 24 months is not applicable to movable property such as jewelry, debt-oriented mutual funds, etc. They will be they will be classified as long-term capital asset if held more than 36 months as earlier. Some assets are considered short-term capital asset when these are held for 12 months or less. This rule is applicable if the date of transfer is after 10 July 2014, irrespective of what the date of purchase was. So, tax applicable on short-term and long-term capital gains. So, basically, tax type applicable is long-term capital gain tax and short-term capital gain tax, but it varies from the condition applicable on the same. So, let's talk about long-term capital gain tax first. When talking about long-term capital gains tax, if the condition is that if except on a sale of equity shares or units of a equity oriented fund is done, then the tax applicable is 20%. Long-term capital gains tax on the condition of sale of equity shares or units of equity oriented fund, then if the income or the capital gain is above rupees 1 lakh, then the tax applicable will be 10% and over. Now consider the short-term capital gains tax, and if the condition is when securities transaction tax is not applicable, the short-term capital gain is added to your income tax return, and the taxpayer is taxed according to his income tax slab. Short-term capital gains tax on the condition when the securities transaction tax is applicable, then the tax applicable will be 15% on whatever the capital gain was. Uh, Now we will learn about some basics of holding period and of mutual funds. The period over which investors stay invested in a mutual fund scheme is known as holding period. The holding period plays a critical role in determining the tax implications of an investment. So basically types of holding period are long-term holding period and short-term holding period. So any funds can be categorized as short-term and long-term depending on what funds they are. So if we talk about equity funds, then they are termed as short term if they are hold for 12 months, or if the investment is less than 12 months. They will be considered as long term if they are invested, the investment is for 12 months or more. Balance funds, if they are equity oriented, then the short term will be less than 12 months, and if they are hold for more than 12 months and more, then it is considered as long term investment. Balance funds, if they are debt oriented, then if they are invested of the if the investment is less than 36 months, then it is treated as short term investment, and if it is more than 36 months, then it is treated as long term investment. Similarly, it applies to the debt funds also. If they are invested for less than 36 months, they are short term. If more than 36 months, then long term. Now we will talk about tax on equity and debt mutual funds. So basically, gains made on the sale of debt funds and equity funds are treated differently. Any fund that invests heavily in equities, more than 65% of the total portfolio, is called as equity fund. Now we will know about the funds and their gains, or the tax applicable on the same. If the fund is debt funds, and then the short term gains or the tax applicable will be at tax slab rates of an individual. So if the capital gain is considered as 2 lakh, then it will be depending on the tax slab rates of individual if the funds are of type of debt funds and for invested for short term. But now, if they are considered, if they are invested for long term, if the gains are considered long term gains, then they are, the tax applicable is 20% with indexation. Now basically, before proceeding to what the amount is applicable on 2 lakh, I will try to explain you what is indexation. So indexation cost of acquisition is amount at which the specific asset is bought, multiplied by current CII, divided by the CII of the year in which the asset was bought, where CII is a cost inflation index which is fixed and changes for every year depending on the economy status. So uh, that amount is reduced or minus by the amount at which asset is sold at the current date. So now consider if the capital gain after this calculation was 2 lakh rupees, then the tax applicable will be 20%, that is rupees 40,000. Now consider equity funds for short term gains, then it will be 15%. Similar, if the capital gain was 2 lakh rupees, tax applicable will be 30,000 rupees. And if it is long term gain for the equity funds, then any amount or any capital gain above rupees 1 lakh will be taxed at 10%. So if the capital gain was 2 lakh rupees, tax applicable will be 20,000 rupees. Taxation applicable on mutual funds. So mutual funds has its own types. Number one, equity funds. Both tax saver and regular equity funds are considered the same for taxation. Long-term capital gain tax is applicable on equity funds at the rate of 10% if the capital gains exceed rupees 1 lakh a year. Talking about debt funds. Long-term capital gains on debt funds are taxable at the rate of 20% after indexation. Indexation is a method of factoring inflation from the time of purchase to the sale of units. Talking about balance funds are taxable depending on their equity exposure. Hybrid equity oriented funds are taxed as any other equity fund, while hybrid debt oriented funds are taxed as any other debt funds. SIPs, systematic investment plans, are a method of investing in mutual funds. They are designed such that investor can invest a small sum periodically. Investment can be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or by year, or even or in a year. So basically, the tax applicable on SIPs depend on the investment done. How it is done. So basically, let's consider if the SIPs are invested monthly. So after a year, suppose a investment is tax free, then first investment after completing 12 months will be considered, or the gain which is profited, or the profit gained through the first investment after completing 12 months will be considered as long term capital gain. So tax will be applicable to it accordingly. And if you decide to take out all the profit or all the amount with you, then the other 11 investments won't be treated as long term, as they have not completed 12 months or 1 year. So they will be completed as short term capital gain, and accordingly the tax will be applicable to the same. Now talking about security transaction taxes, a STT of 0.001% is levied by the government, that is Ministry of Finance, when you decide to sell your units of an equity fund or a hybrid equity oriented fund. There is no STT on the sale of debt fund units. Thank you. Uh, any questions, guys? Hello? Hello?
No
Great,
questions from my side.
great explanation, Rohit. So we'll wait for questions for a minute or two, and then we can close. So guys, if you have any doubts in how to compute capital gains tax for SIP or equity or debt mutual funds, you can ask us right now.
I think we should check chat.
No, everyone is congratulating you in the chat. They are saying that nicely explained, Rohit. Very well explained.
Thank you.
So I guess Rohit, your explanation was so brilliant that all their doubts are cleared. Okay, so I guess we can close, Rohit.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much
Bye.
for joining today's session, guys. It was a great session. Hoping to see you all next week again. Thanks a lot.